There is a strange moment happening in fashion right now, one that feels equal parts inevitable and surreal. Prices keep climbing, bags that once felt out of reach now sit behind lines and lottery systems, and the idea of simply buying something because you loved it feels for many like a luxury in itself. This isn't a conspiracy, it's a recalibration. But what exactly is happening? And why does it feel like the aspirational shopper, the person who saved up, researched, and bought a dream piece as a rite of passage, is quietly being priced out of the story? Let's unravel this carefully and honestly. Luxury was always aspirational in name and function, a promise that a purchase could change the way you move through the world. More than a product, it offered ritual, status, and a sense of arrival. For decades, that promise held a simple contract. You paid a premium, you received craftsmanship, a story, and a small, measurable change in the way the world related to you. Today, that contract feels frayed. Prices escalate faster than many customers' incomes. The psychology of desire collides with economic realities, and what was once a reachable dream can begin to feel like an exclusive club with ever-raising ropes. First, we should clarify what's actually driving prices up. There isn't one single cause. There's a constellation of forces: brands protecting perceived scarcity, rising costs in production and logistics, strategic pricing as a signal of exclusivity, and the new economics of resale and collectability. Each of these elements nudges prices upward, sometimes subtly, sometimes aggressively. When a house increases prices, the move sends a message. This label remains rare, valuable, and worth the premium. In an attention economy where perception matters more than ever, price becomes part of the story. But price alone doesn't explain the cultural shift. Social media rewired desire. Where a magazine spread once introduced an aspirational object, now a daily feed manufactures urgency. Products become viral, inventories empty within hours, and resale markets inflate perceived value. This creates a feedback loop. More visibility drives demand, leading to scarcity, which justifies higher price points, which in turn generates more visibility. Suddenly, a handbag is not merely functional, it is a cultural token, a way of signaling belonging to an ideologically curated world. There is also a corporate strategy behind many price decisions. Luxury houses are not immune to investor logic. Shareholders expect growth. Margins matter. For some brands, raising prices is a way to protect profitability without scaling production, a short-term solution that, if repeated, redefines what the brand even means. The result is a tension between heritage and commerce. When pricing moves ahead of product quality or craft, trust erodes. And trust, once lost in luxury, is slow and expensive to rebuild. Let's be clear. Higher prices can be defensible when they reflect rare materials, skilled artisanship, ethical sourcing, and thoughtful manufacturing. The premium can be justified on a rational level. The problem appears when price outpaces proof. Customers are growing savvier. They scrutinize stitching, provenance, and sustainability claims. They read reviews, compare alternatives, and ask whether the narrative of exclusivity aligns with tangible value. That scrutiny is healthy. It forces brands to tether rhetoric to reality. Another important shift is how luxury has become financialized. The resale market has turned products into assets. When a certain model consistently appreciates in value on resale platforms, buyers purchase on the premise of investment as much as use. That phenomenon distorts the original aspirational model. Instead of buying something to mark a personal milestone, some consumers buy because the object promises a return. This flips the relationship. Product becomes portfolio, joy becomes speculation. For many aspirational shoppers, those who save to buy a dream item, this is profoundly alienating. The dream feels commodified. There's also a psychological layer we must consider. Aspirational shopping has always been about identity formation. A first designer bag can feel like a garment of confidence. It's a public way of telling a private story. When access tightens, that rite of passage shifts from attainable to performative. Social pressure hardens into gatekeeping. New consumption behaviors follow: borrowing, renting, or turning to micro-luxury purchases that mimic the aesthetic without the investment. Some turn away entirely. Others adapt by saving longer, prioritizing differently, or seeking authenticity through smaller heritage brands. The emotional fallout is real. People feel excluded, diminished, and sometimes resentful. Let us not romanticize the past. Luxury was never completely democratic. It always played with signs of exclusion. But there was a time when the arc toward owning a meaningful piece felt achievable to many who worked toward it. Today's pricing strategies make that arc steeper. That shift has consequences beyond sales charts. It reshapes who feels represented by luxury culture and who sees fashion as an attainable form of self-expression. So what does this mean for the future? First, transparency will matter more than ever. Brands that withstand scrutiny will be those that can explain price with narratives that actually show value. Craftsmanship, supply chain integrity, fair labor practices, durable materials, repair and care programs. Those aren't marketing talking points. They're operational commitments that create justification for a premium. Second, the houses that invest in client relationships, in personal service, education, and long-term ownership experiences will cultivate loyalty that transcends price alone. Luxury survived because it offered ritual. It will continue to survive for the same reason. Third, expect more segmentation. The luxury market is already splintering into distinct ecosystems. Ultra-high luxury that sells imagination and rarity, accessible luxury that offers aspirational entry points, direct-to-consumer models that emphasize value and transparency, and the resale market that turns desirability into liquidity. Each segment answers different consumer needs. The aspirational shopper's place may shift within this ecosystem, but it will not disappear. The key is how we, as shoppers and culture makers, define aspiration. Is it about owning a logo or about acquiring objects that fit a life story? Brands must also reckon with responsibility. Inflating price without accountability risks alienating a generation that prizes purpose alongside prestige. Younger buyers are less likely to accept hollow signals. They ask for longevity, ethical production, and narratives that align with their values. Luxury brands that ignore these expectations will face not just economic decline, but cultural irrelevance. For creators, consumers, and lovers of fashion, the path forward is not to collapse under pessimism. It is to become more literate. Learn to differentiate between meaningful premium and performative premium. Ask questions when prices surge. Who benefits from this increase? What is preserved and what is sacrificed? Seek out brands that invest in craft and clarity. Support independent makers who prioritize skill over spectacle. And remember, desire is not a sin. It is a human energy that can be refined, not shamed. If luxury prices are out of control in places, it is because multiple forces, cultural, economic, and technological, converged. The end of the aspirational shopper, then, is not inevitable. It is conditional. The aspirational shopper will remain so long as there are brands that honor the contract between price and value, and buyers willing to look beyond logos for substance. The industry is at an inflection point. It can double down on extractive practices, or it can rebuild trust by making price mean something again. We are not pleading for austerity. We are asking for coherence. Let price tell a true story. Let products carry the proof of their claims. Let aspiration become an invitation, not a gate. When that happens, the dream of owning something beautiful, meaningful, and well-made will be alive again, not as a relic of a nostalgic past, but as a responsible, equitable possibility for the future. Where do you stand? Are you saving for something meaningful, or have you stepped back from aspiration because it no longer feels fair? Tell us. Your experience is the most honest data we have. We'll keep asking the hard questions and honoring the complexity, because fashion deserves more than catchy headlines. It deserves truth. Because these brands forgot something crucial. Luxury was never about shouting the loudest. It was about silence, mystique, and the art of desire. The moment luxury became content, it lost its soul. And that's why people have started to turn away. They're tired of overpriced basics, tired of being sold an image instead of craftsmanship, tired of being told what luxury should look like. Real luxury has always been about feeling, not flexing. And right now, we're watching the industry try to figure out how to make people feel again, not just spend. Because once the illusion fades, only the truth remains. And the truth is, people don't want logos anymore. They want meaning.